when we met you out at training camp, a couple months ago. I mean, you're just such a happy, smiling guy. You're very, cordial and
positive,
very positive person. And then I had never really seen you pissed off before, but until I watched the Edmonton game. And after Jensen whiffed on the puck in the air, with he tried to slap it out, and then one of the Oilers slapped it in with a stick, and I think it was 2-0 at the point. They panned to you, the camera panned to you, and you were livid. I mean, you were pissed. I mean, and that's the first time I actually saw your face really angry.
Was he yelling at other guys?
Oh, yeah, he was
or
yelling.
He just yelling at the air?
No, you were yelling at somebody, or maybe you were just expressing yourself in general to the bench, but you were pissed.
That was a tough night for us. Real tough night.
Yeah. But you remember that play, obviously.
Yeah, and I think it was probably just frustration with the whole body of work thus far into that game, because I think that was the point where it made it 2-0
right
late in the first period, and I just felt like we were chasing it early, and we weren't ready to play in that game, and Edmonton was, and so that's where you see sometimes a little bit of emotion and trying to plug some energy into our guys to get us going. Oh shoot, we're in an NHL game right now against a really good team. I got to get going here.
So, Coach, also in that game, TJ Oshie suffers a scary injury against the Oilers. He gets hit up high by Mattias Ekholm. He's not on the trip with you guys out west. His wife put out a message that he's recovering well at home, but I guess that you have to be upset that no penalty is assessed there on Ekholm, and you lose a key player for at least 5 games with him at home with you guys out west.
Yeah, it was it's one of those weird plays where TJ's trying to stay on side, and he's kind of skating into his route, and then all of a sudden Ekholm out of nowhere comes in and makes contact, and what our guys aren't having, and you just don't know the intention of Ekholm in that situation. Is it just incidental contact with a really big human being, or is there a little extra force that when he sees Osh come, he sort of lays like some force into him to try to like finish that hit? And that's where the gray area is. That the way they saw it was incidental contact, just two guys colliding, and Osh obviously takes the worst of it. And our guys are a little bit unhappy with thinking that Ekholm sort of finishes him there in that situation, that kind of adds to the force of the hit.
Mm-hmm. Coach Carbery, we've been hearing about Connor McMichael for a few years now. He was a first-round pick. He's been playing well of late. I guess you've shifted him over to left wing. Tell us about his play and what he means to your lineup.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. One of our best players through the first part of the year, which is great to see. Young player breaking into the NHL. His sort of development path hasn't been just, automatic here. You're going to go right to the NHL and play. He spent some time in the minors, came up, had to go back down, was a big piece of the Calder Cup run with the Hershey Bears. And I just think now coming into this year, you can tell he's sort of hit his stride and knows and understands who he is and what he is at the NHL and pro level. And you can see his confidence and swagger, and he's making plays. He plays with a ton of pace. So he's been a real bright spot in our lineup. And he's still like, I know a lot of people talk, or they'll tell me like, well, can he get 25 goals? Can he get 30? Can he get, and it's still for a lot of our young players, and this is sort of where we're at as a team and an organization. Like it doesn't happen like that for most NHL players. Like it takes time, even once Connor gets here, to really hit his stride and potentially score 20, 25 goals and be a real difference maker in the National Hockey League. It's still a process, and he's still going through that development process.
Coach Carbs, it had to be nice for you guys to welcome back Martin Fehervary. He was out of the lineup since November 10th. He gets the assist on Kuzi's goal against San Jose. And I know you took exception to the high sticking penalty that he took, which ultimately led to the Sharks' game-winning power play goal. Can you take us through that for us hockey novices with the follow-through with the stick that led to the high stick?
Yeah, it's an interesting penalty. So essentially the way that the penalty works is if I'm taking a shot or making a pass and I follow through with my stick and it catches an opposing player up high, which would normally be a high stick, but because I was shooting it or passing it, they call that a follow-through, so it negates the high-sticking penalty. And what happened last night was Marty tries to make a pass, and he follows through and catches Duclair up high stick, but he was trying to pass the puck. Now, where it gets a little gray is he sort of fanned on the puck, like the puck didn't go to where he wanted it to, but he got a piece of it. So that was my argument, was like he still was passing that puck and he got a piece of it. Yeah, did it go 10 feet like he expected? No, it went 2 feet. But he was still and the way that the referee explained it was that that puck needs to go to where he had planned on it to go, which I think is a pretty tough call in those scenarios to be able to judge that, but that's the way they saw it.
Coach, just getting back to the Sharks' loss, I don't have to tell you they are tied for the worst in the league with 12 points. Yeah, with only 5 wins, and it's the NHL. They get paid too. I get it, but clearly they're not a good team, and you guys couldn't get anything done offensively. Kind of take me back and tell me, why you think you lost to the Sharks.
It's just the same thing that has been an issue for us all year, and it's probably going to continue to creep its head. Like, we'll work on it every single day and pay attention to it, but just our lack of scoring and ability to finish and make that last play, beat a goalie one-on-one, score on a breakaway. We did a lot of good things, so I'll focus on that stuff from a chance-generating, controlling play, ozone possession. But what you see with our group a lot, and it's happened early on, is we're just not a high-octane, going to be able to have 6 25-goal scorers in our lineup. We just have to manufacture goals, and we're going to have to find ways to get secondary chances, and we need maybe 8 or 9 guys to have 12 goals and not necessarily 6 25-goal scorers in our lineup. It's just where we're at as a team. So that's the challenge for us, is to continue to find ways to finish, to score goals, our process needs to be good like it was last night, and then we just need that last step of finding ways to score goals in different ways and beat goaltenders.
Coach, are you still in that spot where when we had you on early in the season and you guys were struggling a little bit, you're like, it's okay, we're getting chances, we're sort of unlucky stat-wise, and then it kind of caught up with you, right? And you were winning. Are you back in that spot where you're still just kind of unlucky stat-wise, or is it things kind of evened out? Like, where are you right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. And what I would say is, through that stretch of winning, like if you looked under the hood of what was happening in the games, we were in a very similar spot. Now, what we did there, we got some fantastic goaltending. Penalty kill was good. We had some timely goals. We won a bunch of 1-goal games. We came back. So we showed the character of our group of finding ways to win, but there's still that underlying finishing and creating offense, and that's what we're really working with our group on. We really have to work to generate that last play and find that polish offensively, because it just doesn't come to our group naturally. Like, it's not. We've got young players that are trying to find themselves in the NHL, let alone score a goal and be a difference maker offensively, and then obviously our veteran guys are trying and doing everything they can to play to the level that they have in the past and try to score and try to produce like they have in the past. And it's a challenge, so we'll continue to work on it.
Coach, are you getting the shots? They're just not as elite shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and it's just like a last play. Like, you see, I mean, it's tough. Like, it is hard to score goals in the National Hockey League. And there's a lot of world-class players, and it's really difficult when, like you saw the other night against Edmonton, like, it takes a world-class player sometimes to score, and it's not a lack of effort. It's not a lack of trying. Like, our guys want to do the right things. They're in good spots. It's just we got to work on that last play, whether it's a backdoor pass, whether it's a one-timer that finds its way through and goes top shelf, whether it's a play on the power play on the back door. Like, you saw 2 opportunities for Willie last night, that one goes off the post, one hits his pad, and those for us just have not gone in all year. And so we'll just continue to work on that. of how we can finish, how we can do a better job against goaltenders to make it more difficult.
Joined by Spencer Carbery, head coach of the Washington Capitals. I don't have to tell you twice that the 5.7% clip on the power play right now, last place. You have to be thinking like positive regression is coming to this number. But like when you think bigger picture, do you and the coaches think like we have to be at X number by midseason to contend for a playoff spot? Or is it let's get the key elements fixed, get one Wednesday night against the Kings, and then we'll just go from there?
More the latter, because what's happened. So we are where we are. So I think if you try to, we need to get to 15% by here or whatever, I think you're just chasing your tail. Like you find a way tomorrow. Or tonight against LA, can the power play be the difference in the game tonight against LA? And then you focus on it the next game, and then you hope over time that it starts to contribute. But you're right, like that, and that just falls under the scoring category. Is another example of us having. I mean, it's looked okay at times. At times, it hasn't looked great, but it should certainly be like middle of the pack numbers wise, like with what we've generated chance. But again, just haven't been able to finish in those areas and get that last play, shot, one time, or whatever it might be that finds the back of the net.
So the Kings are your next opponent later tonight. They're 13-3-3, and you look at that record.
5 straight wins.
It's pretty daunting, but hey, the Kings are 4-3-3 in their building. They're a perfect 9-0-0 on the road. So maybe this is a good bounce back spot for a team that's great on the road, not so good at home.
Yeah, and it's a really good hockey team. One of the elite teams in the NHL, in my opinion, with their growth pattern of sort of how they've built this thing over the last 5-6 years. They sort of have that veteran group of Kopitar and Doughty, but they've integrated these young guys into it, and they've come along and sort of right in their prime, hitting their stride. So it's going to be a really good test on the road against one of the elite teams in the league.
While you're out there, are you somebody that has to try In-N-Out Burger, which I believe is vastly overrated?
Definitely overrated.
I actually completely agree with that assessment. Completely.
What's your favorite burger joint? What if you're just getting a burger? What is Coach Carbery going for?
Gosh, that's a good
I'll be
call.
honest, I'm not that highbrow. I like going to Wendy's.
They serve a good burger, no doubt.
I'm gonna switch it up. Like I love, and I'm gonna go local on this. I'm going local. I like chicken sandwiches. If I'm gonna go sandwich, I'm going fried chicken sandwich Buffalo. And there's this little place in Boston called Hot Lolo's in the bottom of sort of the Boston area. So it's a good spot for a fried chicken sandwich Buffalo.
All right, put that on the list.
I might have to go right now.
Go stop by.
Sounds like a potential sponsorship opportunity for you, Coach. A little side revenue stream never hurts anybody.
Hot
Trust
Lola's.
Yeah.
So
and get the tenders. Like you can get it with the chicken. I like the tender sandwich, and it's dynamite.
Very nice. I'll have to take you up on that rec. Now you guys are paying the piper a little bit schedule-wise. You had a few 3-day breaks early in your schedule. That's boomeranged around now to 3 games in 4 nights. What's it like navigating the travel, making sure guys are getting enough rest to keep you fresh for the rest of the West Coast roadie?
Yeah, that's going to be the challenge going forward because we had some breaks in the schedule early on, and now it picks up, and it's going to be game after game, and like you said, those 3 and 4s constantly. So it's just a matter of managing some of our guys' minutes, practice time, workload, finding some opportunities like that. It's another challenge that you might not think about, but for us, because we have such a young team, and then part of our roster is very veteran heavy, so we have to find creative ways to be able to practice, but give reps off to the John Carlsons of the world, and so that's sort of what we're trying to navigate and find different ways to do that. So we'll give those guys little breaks whenever we can to try to make sure we're as fresh as possible.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck against the Kings tonight and throughout the rest of your travels out west, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Okay, thank you guys very much.
All right,
Thanks, buddy.
Best of luck. That is Washington Capitals head coach Spencer Carbery.